What's going on, guys? Cruzin Podcast, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about two very interesting documentaries that we got to see this past weekend. The Hulu and FX documentary about Britney Spears, Framing Britney Spears. I've been seeing it a lot on TikTok and on social media and been hearing a lot about it. So I want to talk about that today. And also we're going to talk about The Social Dilemma, the Netflix documentary about all these social medias and stuff like that. Really interesting documentaries. So I want to start first with the Britney Spears, Framing Britney Spears, because I had no idea. I remember growing up hearing about the whole Britney Spears story, right? Shaving her head. Oh, she went crazy, this and that. As a kid, I didn't fully understand it. I just thought, oh wow, like she went crazy, like anybody else. And then I kept hearing about this documentary. We watched it today. And being older now, right? And like really getting to understand how manipulative and powerful the media is. That's why I'm glad that we saw both of these today and we're going to talk about them in the same episode. Because I feel like these two documentaries actually kind of go hand in hand. Right. Because with Britney Spears, it kind of shows about the manipulation of the media, the how evil the media can be, and tearing down and like relying on someone having a mental breakdown to make a profit. The paparazzis, all these companies that at one point even said, "Oh, Britney, keep doing you. Your downfall is giving us views." Yeah. So you have this portion of media, then you also have Social Dilemma that's talking about how it's changing the culture and it can cause a civil war within the country and dividing people and causing depression. And they're two huge things, and it's both associated with media. It's just in two different periods, and I feel like it really correlates. I'm glad we watched both of them together. So with the Britney Spears, it's this whole story of what's going on with her and conservatorship, where basically you are not mentally capable
of making
your own financial business decisions, and how it led to her being to that point. And this documentary really gave a good insight as to really going deeper into what happened, right? Because one thing we know with all these medias and national networks it's funny because if you notice, it's all the same people in these networks, right? All the same TV hosts, all the same interviewers in these networks throughout the years. You can go from Britney Spears to Tom Cruise to any actor, and it's usually the same TV hosts that are always asking these personal, intrusive questions just to get a reaction out of you. It's always the same agenda. And then when these people react or they snap at these people, boom, you got your headline, And this documentary really talks about that. And it kind of gave a background on Britney Spears that I didn't know. She started at 10 years old. Britney Spears was on the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. And at that time, I think like Ryan Gosling was in it.
Yeah, I think so.
And was Justin Timberlake in that too?
I
could have sworn I think it was Ryan Gosling and Justin Timberlake, which funny
I think it was Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, and Ryan Gosling as well.
I don't
know. They were both young and they were together. I remember seeing that.
I don't know.
She was in the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, and it kind of goes through her career, starting young, and that whole thing and how she got to that. And I thought this documentary was really good. It was really interesting because it's giving you a true insight on what she was going through. And that's one thing that these media outlets don't care about. They don't care. And one of the people in the documentary said it. They don't care to know how you're doing. They're just going to say you're crazy, and that's the headline. Oh, unfit mother, this, that, and that's it. I mean, and you still see that today, right? Now I think celebrities have a little bit more freedom in the sense of they have their own social media account. You don't have to go on a TV network anymore to
promote your movie,
to promote yourself or who you are as a person. That's why, and I think that's a very empowering thing that these TV networks are. I'm glad that they're not doing as well as they were before, because it's not cool, man. I mean, with this Britney Spears thing, you see they were making fun of her on every TV network, on like that Jeopardy game. Was it Jeopardy? Not Jeopardy. The one of those game shows.
Yeah.
Oh, what has Britney lost this last year? And they made it a joke into a game show. And this is someone's actual life, and it's terrible. So basically, how I took it is, you see this really sweet person of Britney Spears, right? Starting young. She started young, talented, everything going well. This is in the 2000s.
Yeah.
In the 2000s, you don't have social media. This is just straight TV networks and TV publicity. And, you have people saying, oh, why is she dressed so slutty? She's not a good role model. The usual complaints from people when a star at a certain age, or, whatever,
yeah,
right?
The same shit.
And when you start to actually see what was going on, her dad was not there very often. He was more of, oh, she's gonna make us money. That's the kind of impression I got. And I think one of her workers said, what was that she said? That, oh, I can't wait till she makes money so she can buy me a boat.
Mm-hmm.
Remember?
Yeah.
And she there's a clip of that, the documentary about one of the workers. She's like, that's all I'm gonna say about her dad. So he wasn't there that much. And then I think what was going on was she was reaching this height of fame, and it's crazy seeing this overnight. So that's what she was explaining it as. It felt like this overnight. You just wake up one day and you're famous, and it's so crazy because you see her performing one more time at a mall, and then next thing you know, she's doing a music video, she's doing concerts and tours. That rise to fame, and it's just so interesting. And then I think everything started happening when she started dating Justin Timberlake. And if you notice, it's not like that. You can't do that now.
No.
You don't see these big couples going on TV networks and making their relationship this big thing. People try to get information from it, but you don't see that anymore, because it's toxic. You look at here, for example, when she started going out with Justin Timberlake, it was all about, really in personal, intrusive questions, asking if she's a virgin, if she's had sex, and this and that, right? And then I don't know what it was that happened. They broke up, right? And then, but she was saying, no, like, I'm not that type of person, whatever. But then Justin Timberlake, on the other hand, was on podcasts saying,
or radio shows.
Radio show, yeah. The podcasts weren't a thing yet. Saying, oh yeah, that he slept with her, this and that. And it's really messed up because it wasn't even like a professional question. They're like, oh, so did you fuck her? They literally said it like that. And I was like, that's on a radio show? And then Justin Timberlake was like, oh yeah. I was like, ooh, like that, that's...
You shouldn't answer that.
Yeah, that's none of your business,
Yeah.
And when that happened, they started labeling her a whore, and that she cheated on him, and like Justin was the victim. And then apparently that's when he started making this music. I believe was it Cry Me a River?
Cry Me a River.
Or one of those songs. And the music video, the woman is a blonde, and it's like if she broke his heart and is walking away.
In that sense, it kind of makes him look like the asshole.
He came out recently apologizing.
When?
I still was an article about him apologizing to her, but it's like, this is years later. You apologize now when the documentary's out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you apologize. Yeah, after you've been exposed for being a chick.
And then their popularity became a huge thing, and then once that's such, then their breakup was even a bigger deal, right? And then it just kept going, music. And then he made the song, and then people were just tying things together, like if she cheated on him. It was just unnecessary drama towards her.
Yeah, it's like what they're saying in the movie or documentary, that they treat it like a high school drama.
Yeah, and that's what it is. I mean,
and they treat it like a high school. It's like who cares?
Yeah, and when you see this, you really understand the toxicity. They even interviewed paparazzis from that time, and how they were saying there was points where if they were able to get shots of Britney walking fucking from her house, or get if you can catch a picture of them off guard, these studios were offering up to $1 million.
That's crazy.
That's how tempting money will make you do anything.
If you hear, I'm sorry, $1 million, and all you gotta do is to take a picture of a celebrity.
Yeah. It brings out all those temptations.
Dude, that's so dangerous because, like, dude, those people they'll do anything.
And you see it. We saw in the documentary there was a clip of two
Guys
paparazzis fighting each other to get video of her.
And
There are so many of them that they bumped into each other and they were trying to get the shot and they started fighting each other. That's how glued in these people are. And we kind of look at these videos for fun just to kind of analyze it. These old paparazzi videos, they still do it today, where
it's not
they're
cool.
it's like a bunch of wild animals, just like a bunch of sheep, just blindly.
I don't think they get paid as much now though.
No, I don't think so. It's not as.
No one
They're
cares.
not as powerful
You know
anymore.
why? Because magazines. Who the fuck reads a magazine?
Those
now?
are not powerful. They're not powerful anymore. Now you
Yeah.
have social media, and it's such a crazy thing because they're just like
But
these
$1 million, man.
mindless creatures following you around with a camera, just mindless, like completely inconsiderate, no empathy on the other person. And then they'll be like, oh yeah, we like the paparazzi. No, I was asking her, hey, like, is everything okay? But you're asking her while you're filming her.
Yeah.
You're just trying to get more footage, you know? And how
that paparazzi guy, he was trying to sound like
he tried to sound like the better person, but like at the end of the day, you were still filming because you were trying to get your money.
yeah, you're still a dick.
Take it for what it is. You were trying to make your money, and that was it. And at first, she was nice about it. Even the paparazzi said it. Like, she understood. Okay, like, I'm famous, and you're. It was too much. There was footage of her at a gas station in a bathroom.
That's bad.
And they were in the gas station, They flooded the whole gas station.
She
was going through like a divorce and custody and this, and it's a lot. And with the Justin Timberlake thing, they were saying, "Oh, what did you do? What did you do?"
Yeah, just blaming her. They never asked him.
And saying that she's an unfit mother and just all these negative things. And this is something that the big media still does. They get things out of context to label you because everybody likes a bad, just negative clickbait story headline.
Yeah, like she tripped with her baby,
and they got a picture. It's all about pictures.
And then unfit mother, like she almost dropped her baby.
That's taxing. And the funny thing is about this documentary and Social Dilemma that we're gonna get into after this, Social Dilemma mentions Truman Show, but this movie. This was happening in 2000s. Truman Show came out like in 96. And I think this is a beautiful, like, Truman Show is a beautiful prediction of what happens right after the movie came out. 5, 6, 10 years later of just, it feels like that where anywhere you go, there's cameras surrounding you everywhere. You're constantly being watched. Like, your reality's altered. Like, this is not who you are. You have to go and give off this certain persona for people and I don't know, like Truman Show really nailed that, and it's something that's talked about. And this documentary reminded me a lot of that.
They're asking about her sex life.
It's to that point where they want to know everything about you. Like if they're watching you 24/7, just like Truman Show, and we don't even know what's going on in her head. And it's a line in Truman Show. He's like, "You never had a camera in my head. You don't know what I'm thinking," because everybody's like, that's like. Watching Britney Spears, they're constantly like if they know what she wants or what she needs or that she's a bad mother, you don't know her, you know. And it's something that still goes on today, where you can get a picture out of context, put a headline, and that's it, you know. I mean, and there's interviews and people. They interviewed her about paparazzis and asking, "Oh, would you want them to stop? Is that something that you want?" And she cried, like saying yes, you know. And these television hosts don't give a shit. They don't care.
No,
they just want you. They want you to cry on there.
Those people are soulless. Those people are animals.
They're sick. I think they're sick.
Yeah, those people have no.
And that's why most of them either got caught with accusations or they're fired. You know, that you see.
Those people have like a black fucking heart.
And it's cruel. And you see that.
But Tom Cruise, same thing. Like asking personal questions, and he was like, "Why are you like?"
Just to label you real quick and. With this whole Britney Spears thing, what I saw here is she snapped. She said, "You know what? Like, fuck all of this." She shaved her own head. She didn't want to be that symbol. You guys want to make me as this symbol and take pictures of me all the time? I'm shaving my head. Like, it made her do that drastic change of just to rebel and just say, "You know what? I'm done. Here you go. I'm not that same person anymore. You strip that away. I'm bald now. Do what you want with that." Nobody wants to see that. Everybody wants to see, you know. And they made her snap. They really did. I mean, Jay Leno, David Letterman, these are all clips in the documentary making fun of her. You know, game shows. So what did Britney lose this last year? And people are like, her hair, ha 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 ha, her husband, her marriage. Like, that's in a game show.
Like, that's not even funny.
Somebody else's stress and problems and tragedies in their life, it's being used as a game show on television.
That's like pretty bad.
You know how dehumanizing and evil that is?
Pretty bad. That's
like the culture that we live in. And that's terrible, you know. And I saw, and it's you see it in such a different light. And then obviously when all that happened, the mental breakdown, all that, that's when her dad came in with the lawyers, and they did that conservatory, where it's basically signing off this legal thing where she's not mentally capable of dealing with her financials and business decisions. That's it. And they made her, like, she signed, like, they had her sign it permanently. And there was this, like, entrepreneur guy, that Sam something guy, that apparently they were, like, drugging her and using her for her money and trying to get her. And, you know, it's all, how can they use you when you're most vulnerable? And then that's when her dad came in with the lawyers, and till this day, she's trying to fight to get back her ownership of everything. Her financials, her decisions are not hers. And it's crazy because you see,
dude, they took everything.
They did negotiations for her, so they gave her this big comeback, right? She came back and she was.
But maybe she didn't want to do it.
And they gave her record deals. She was on TV shows like How I Met Your Mother. She was doing hit records, stuff like that. She was performing, but guess what? All that money was going towards her dad, his people, and then to her. And she didn't even have access to that money. She was like a puppet. They were just like, okay, we got you in this, we got you in that, we got you in that. Go make us money, basically, like a puppet. Yeah. And she got that residency in Vegas.
So it's like a little show dog.
And this is why I feel like it's all so weird. She got that residency in Vegas. It was making like $1 million a week, $300,000 per show. It was a huge hit. And when they announced the new location, it was like a live stream. She was supposed to perform it herself, and she showed up, waved at everyone, walked down the stage, threw the red carpet, said hi to everyone, and left in the limo. That was it. She didn't perform. She didn't do interviews. And I think 3 weeks later, she canceled the residency. And since then, she's been off the grid. Now she's been with the lawyers and the courts trying. Basically, what's going on, from what they're saying, is she's not going to perform anymore and make them money until she has her rights back and can remove that conservatorship.
Yeah, her post on Instagram.
And yeah, like the stuff that the people are saying about her cryptic Instagram posts about, like, it's basically like a cry for help. She wants to get free. And there's documentaries with her and talking about how she doesn't feel free. She feels sad, and you can see it in her face. She's doing all these things, but she feels like, she's like, yeah, if I can just get my things back, my freedom back. And then she's like, I just feel sad. Imagine you're just doing whatever people tell you all day. They're watching you all day. That's what she said in the documentary. Like, just constantly watching you, telling you what to do, how to,
or who can visit you. Who
yeah,
can...
and
that's bad.
It's crazy, you know.
That dad's a piece of shit.
Yeah, and it's just really bad because this has been going on for over 10 years.
Damn.
You know?
Just kind of like
a great documentary. I thought it was really interesting, and it brings good insight.
She feels like it's just like a slave, kind of like it's just like a walking a puppet. Like, oh, go make me money and screw what you want.
Even right now, with all the courts and the lawyers, that's all being paid for by her. It's her money. Like, her dad and his lawyers that are saying to stay in that power.
And it's so hard for her to, like...
It's all in her money.
Yeah, and she's trying, but... What that lawyer said, that it's hard to...
It's hard because...
How can you prove
how that law works, how do you say, you know... And
how do you prove, like look, I'm
mentally capable? And clearly, I'm sure she is. At the end of the day, she's a grown woman, you know? And I don't know, it was a really great documentary, and I think it all makes sense with what's going on. It's still going on. It's a thing that's really happening. that I don't see a lot of in the media or anything. I seen this like on TikToks and stuff like that, but I haven't seen it anywhere. And again, I think it's because it puts the media in a bad light. It puts everything in a bad light.
Their fault.
She's just pretty much like trapped, you know.
It's literally their fault.
Yeah, they
pushed her to that.
They pushed her to that brink, where, man, to say the hairdresser didn't even want to shave her hair off. She was like, "I'll do it myself," and you see her just shaving it all on her own. You know, to reach that point. I mean, you see the paparazzi footage and everything. It's rough. It's a really good documentary, and it's crazy how all that came to be, because it's true. You look at with her and Justin Timberlake, but she got all the shit. Justin Timberlake was good, but then she was getting all this. You're a whore. You dress like you're an unfit mother. She was a joke on the media for who knows how long. Like, just a joke. Like, if you mentioned Britney Spears at that time, it was like, ha. She was on game shows. You know?
That's bad.
It's pretty bad. And, you know, there was one scene that the paparazzi followed her, and she literally couldn't get into her ex-husband's house to see the kids, so she was leaving. And the paparazzi came up to her with the camera like, "Oh, Britney, how are you doing? Is everything okay? We're worried about you," while recording her. She got out of the car, got the umbrella, and bashed his car. And he said it, "Oh, that was the money shot."
You gotta pay a lot of money for that.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. And she was doing that because she was pissed at him. She was having a rough night, you know? And the headline was, "Britney is denied into her ex-husband's home to see kids, throws rage," and then the picture of her hitting a car window. Meaning, like, she went up. You read that headline as an average consumer that's going to believe it. You're going to be like, "Oh my God, dude, Britney's going crazy. She went to this guy's house and started bashing this car because she couldn't see the kids." In reality, she's being provoked by these paparazzis that don't leave her alone. And you see her crying in interviews, and it's just, there's so much more. And I can only imagine how that must have been in a time where there was no social media, where you can go and
no one cares.
Maybe go on a podcast.
And no one cares.
Where you can go on a podcast and talk about yourself openly and freely without it being scripted or being, you know, with some asshole TV host. Or on your own social media, posting yourself. What are you doing? Allowing what you want to be seen for people, you know? Back then, it was just go on TV, answer some, personal questions. Because back then, it was all about who you're dating and them going to shows together. That's not the case anymore. I don't know. It was. I don't know if I'm missing anything, but I thought it was a really good documentary.
Yeah.
I believe everything that's going on. I mean, her brother was on a podcast, and he was talking about it, but everybody's just always kind of like, "Oh yeah, I don't know," you know. It's like if they can't talk about it, you know. And then when they asked, "Oh, do you think she's being confined against her will about all this?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, all the time." And he's like, "Oh, I'm just kidding." When people joke around, you got to be careful, because sometimes they might be saying the truth, you know. And from what we know, who knows, man? Who knows? Because those situations, when it involves power, money, and the industry as a whole, we don't know. And what it looks like right now, she's refusing to do any more shows or perform until she's free. So,
and that makes it seem like she's like capable.
Yeah, she's capable to be like, "Hey, I am not doing anything until I am financially just free to do with my." It's not just her money; it's her estates, everything, like her properties. It's her whole life, you know. It's crazy. It's a great documentary. I would recommend it. Anything else? Did anything else stick out with you? I mean, I tried to nail all the main points, but
I mean, the fact is that the only way she gets free is if the dad is the one that has to say,
the conservator is the one that can be like, "Okay, we think she's good."
Hopefully she could, but I don't know. It's a
tough situation, but it seems like maybe she'll get there. But man, apparently they were like drugging her, and they were just mentally unfit. Let's take her money, you know.
Yeah, it's bad.
So, great documentary, and I think it really ties into perfectly with Social Dilemma and like the movie Truman Show, that I think really tackles these two things. Because Truman Show, it's about that. Like Jim Carrey said, it was about his fame and the popularity and how it felt. And And then Social Dilemma actually gives a couple examples of Truman Show and about social media, and and we're gonna talk. I guess we'll talk about Social Dilemma now, but that's our thoughts on the Framing Britney. I think it's really crazy. That whole thing. Again, you don't know. We used to believe everything the media told us back then. This person's crazy, and you would joke about it, like, "Oh, she's crazy, ho ho ho!" Like, that's so funny, without actually understanding the, mental health and what's really going on there. That's taxing, of people just wanting to criticize you and record everything you do and misjudge you.
That's why you can't be famous that young, man.
And getting everything of yours out of context.
Yeah, it's bad. At
the end of the day, it's nobody's business. Free Britney. Free Britney. That's like that's the movement right now, and let's see. It's getting a lot of traction. When things get traction, it's usually a good sign. So I want to jump into